Now, it's one of the most secretive countries on earth, gripped for decades by the iron fist of military rule. But now Burma is beginning to open up, not just to democracy, but to Asia's economic boom. It's brought new wealth and a whole host of new opportunities for a fortunate few, along with a surge in demand for flights and hotel rooms. Our Asia correspondent John Sparks travelled to Burma's biggest city of Rangoon to find out just how the business elite are splashing their newfound cash.
It's been down in the dumps for decades, an atmospheric timepiece that's missed the Asian boom. But in Burma's largest city, Rangoon, the secret is out. There's money to be made, and the business world's turning up to check it out.
We see Myanmar as an awakening giant, the last Asian frontier.
It's the dynamic of a gold rush. You know, you don't get there first, you don't elbow your way in, well, maybe you don't strike the mother lode.
Meet the country's former management team. Burma's generals inherited a nation rich in natural resources, but they proved themselves incompetent stewards. The economy racked by corruption and mismanagement. Only the generals and their friends seem to prosper. But a new civilian government is introducing reforms designed to rev up economic growth. We assessed one such initiative at a Rangoon car lot. Until recently, people were forced to buy vehicles from a small number of licensed importers, and that made it very expensive. Last year there were only a handful of cars on this lot, but now business is booming because people don't have to buy vehicles off the government's cronies anymore. Anyone can turn up and buy a car like this subcompact Daewoo, complete with taxi sign, although it's still not cheap. So let's get down to business. How much does it cost? $18,000, he said, or about £12,000. What would this car have cost a few years ago? $100,000, he answered, or £65,000, a colossal sum in Burma. If the cost of cars is coming down, the price of property is skyrocketing. An influx of foreign buyers and the promise of further reform has triggered a speculative boom. There's nothing left on this site.
We don't have any flats left, I'm afraid. We sold the lot in 3 months. They're finished.
The boom now pricing out residents and businesses in Rangoon. This local watering hole will soon make way for condos. Some say the market's overheating.
It could be a lot of hot money flowing to the country, too much money, creating kind of an asset bubble, speculation, to a point where prices can crash.
The biggest prize on offer is Burma's vast natural resources, and here the Chinese have got a major head start. But mega projects like this dam are proving increasingly unpopular. Critics call them exploitative, and even the country's leaders are getting fed up with the Chinese, say some.
They realized that they should get away from the Chinese pressure and influence so that they will get the real development in this country. I think that's one of the reasons why they are opening up.
And the Chinese don't offer real development?
Yeah, I mean, I think at least that's the feeling of the generals. I think that's why they are trying to get in touch with the Western communities again.
Does all that give Western companies an advantage then? Well, no. There's not much they can do with EU and American sanctions still biting into the Burmese economy. It's time to get rid of sanctions, isn't it?
Well, there's a lot of people who are arguing that, but I mean, we think it's premature. It should be a process of benchmarks, and one of the key benchmarks was release of all political prisoners. One of the things that everybody agrees on is there are still political prisoners in Burma's prisons.
Whether Western sanctions are scrapped will depend chiefly on this, the upcoming by-election being fought by long-time dissident Aung San Suu Kyi. If the poll is seen as free and fair, well, the gold rush could well become a stampede. John Sparks, Channel 4 News, Rangoon.